And it's almost like that these symbols that have all been like fed with energy from, if it was like a talisman, like they feed the energy from the stars in ancient Egypt, that's how they used to do it. It's working on some level we can't comprehend. That's, basically trapping and deceiving us here all the time.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, in my opinion, when you die and you get these references to people saying, I met Jesus and all this kind of stuff, and they tell you that they met these enlightened beings and everything.
Yeah.
Because they're so familiar with the symbolism, because they haven't asked what it's all about or anything like that, it's almost like if you, for instance, meet Jesus when you die and you go with him, and he'll tell you can be a lawyer next time, and he'll send you back around again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you're encapsulated in this, as the Tibetans believe, and Tibetan is the New World Order religion in my opinion, they believe in reincarnation. And so the reason why the reincarnation happens is if you're still duped by this symbolism when you go through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to be able to stop, believing that this symbolism is here to help you, because it's not. And my opinion is that what's going on is this material reality, whatever we're related in, it's much like the Gnostics believed, and in the sense of the Gnostics believed that there was a creator of the material universe, but they never ever saw their creator as the supreme being or the god, if you like. The creator was a malevolent force of sorts, keeping us all entrapped in this matter, preventing us from being what we really are. And like the Gnostics used to say, when they died and they met the creator, they used to say, you're not my god, I'm a Gnostic. And essentially that's when they believed that they had moved on from everything. And it's almost like it's the same principle. I mean, they tried to wipe out the Gnostics, did the Roman Catholics, but it's the same principle. Like people, when this spiritual event happens in 2012, if this spiritual event happens, the obelisks and the pyramids and the symbolism will still be around everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Everyone might be ascended in a spiritual fashion and know about the 7 chakras and stuff like that, but you're still going to be feeding your energy into the same machine.
Of course. What you're talking about here, as far as I can pick up on here, is that you're talking about that you need to become smart, or you need to be able to interpret all of the symbols and what it does to you. Not only that okay, we have sun symbolism everywhere, very good, but what actually does it mean? Where does it lead you, and so forth? And in what way are they using it on us? Because in many cases, I can also see that. If we look at how nature operates, how it exists, how the functions of natures occur, we can understand that the sun, for instance, is one of the most important elements that we have in order to sustain us, keep us alive. So obviously one can understand that there is a veneration for the sun, but how is this being used? And I mean, what you're referring to here also, as far as I can pick up on it, is a little bit of the Buddhist ideology or theme, that we actually are trapped in a kind of illusion, if you will, or the wheel of reincarnation, and that this is something that actually is a trap. To some extent, I don't agree with that idea a little bit, but I understand what you're saying and how a philosophy like that can arise.
If you think about, say, for instance, the film The Matrix. The Matrix had Neo, which is an anagram for the One, had Trinity, had Sion in there, had the whole thing in there.
Of course,
And for instance, when Neo had decided that he wanted to know the truth, and he was no longer wanting to be kept in this illusion, and Morpheus offered him the blue or the red pill, and he took the one to see the truth, obviously. When he woke up, there's a little robot that came up, a machine that came up and looked at him. And then the machine just looked at him and then shot off, right? And you think to yourself, why didn't that machine attack him? And the reason why that machine didn't attack him is because Neo, in the film, basically had seen through everything. He knew the truth and no longer could provide energy for the machines in that pod. Basically, I've got this kind of feeling that as we're approaching 2012, we're obviously approaching some kind of new cosmological energy of some sort. Something involving the universe, which is probably far too great for any of us to really comprehend at the moment. But working on the mind before matter idea, basically, I envisage what's going on as we're moving closer to this state and we're getting closer to this energy all the time. Manifestation time between kind of, thoughts and manifestation creating themselves into matter is getting shorter.
Because we are being drawn toward the attractor through shorter and shorter epochs. And not only must the entire last 4,000 years of history be compressed into this 67-year period from 1945 to 2012, but there is a 384-day period preceding December 22nd, 2012, when the last 67 years and the last 4,300 years have to be compressed into that. Then there's a final 6-day period when all of these things are compressed again. And so do you see what's happening? The spiral is tightening as it goes faster and faster. The resonances are impinging. The thing is getting nuttier and nuttier and nuttier as computers link all cultures together, all informational barriers dissolve. Everything is becoming connected to everything else. Not only everything in the present moment, but all past moments as well are being drawn, compressed, squeezed toward the production of the transcendental object at the end of time, which is nothing less than all time, all space, shrunk down to an atomic dimension and handed back to us.
So, do you understand what I'm saying? The spirit, the gap between consciousness and our material bodies are closing up, and so eventually we'll be able to create our reality a lot quicker than we currently do. If you look at what's going on, for instance, in Indiana Jones, there's symbology all over that film for 2012. There's the main calendar. They don't acknowledge it, but he's rocking on the main calendar in that film. There's loads of other stuff that coincide with the main prophecies and stuff. And the same goes is like when I was on my trip down to Paris the other week, and I was driving down the M1 in Britain, and the first motorway service station I got to, I walked to the shop, and I went in there, and there's this big pile of books on offer, and the books that they sell in motorway service stations are terrible. They never give you any knowledge whatsoever, not good for anything, but there's just one book on offer. And I went over to it, and it was a book all about the end of the world in 2012 on the main motorway of like Britain's motorway in one of the shops, one of the main shops that you get on the service stations. And I've got this feeling that what's going on as we're getting close to this energy, and as we're getting this gap between kind of thought and manifestation of matter is getting shorter. There's a particular force out there that's trying to implicate that 2012 is going to be a huge disaster. And for instance, next year, the man who released Stargate and Independence Day is releasing the film 2012.